Hello, welcome back to Inside My Own Headspace. So, my name's Bec. It has been, I don't know, probably 9 months since I recorded. Um, totally been slacking. Said I was going to start a podcast, loved it, dived in a little bit into like kind of mental health, those sort of things. And then I started prep for a bodybuilding show. Life took over, stress took over everything, and I totally dropped the ball. And I kept saying, oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. And I just literally never got around to recording. So the puppy just walked in. I just got off a client call and I figured it's almost Christmas. It's almost the end of the year. There's no better time than now. I'm sitting in my office. I have a couple minutes. Why not record just kind of a short podcast, let you guys know where I've been at, what's to come in the new year, and what to expect. So we're going to get back on track with podcasts, get back into it. I'm hoping to have some guests on to be able to dive a little bit into, some more mental health, what other people have struggled with, men, women combined, that sort of thing. Talk about the inner workings of prep, where I've been at mentally, all that good stuff. So I don't even know where I left off on my journey after I recorded my last podcast for you. I know I was talking a lot about my past experiences and kind of things that I've been through, trials and tribulations of my mental health journey and things that have gone on. And I will get back to those. So I'm going to actually have to go back and re-listen to myself, which is something I hate doing, and see where I left off on my story. But right now I just want to kind of fill you guys in on life and how I've been feeling and where things have been going. So prep was a wild 30 weeks. Prep's a lot. For those of you who don't know, when you bodybuild, you train for competitions. So essentially, if you're a competitive bodybuilder, you take anywhere from 16 to 30 weeks to what we call is prep. And in this time, you are doing more cardio, you're likely eating less food, and you're slowly coming down in body weight. So the goal of it is to get you to your most pristine condition, leanest body mass, while still allowing your leanest body weight as far as fat mass goes. But you still want to accentuate all of your muscles. So you want to basically have very, very low body fat percentage left on you. So anywhere from 5 to 7%, and have all your muscles filled out and shown and able to go through. So with this, I did one show in August, which was my first time back in 3 years. I felt great. I was heavier than the first show that I ever did. I looked better than the first show that I ever did. And I felt good. I took third, I believe. Excuse me. I wasn't thrilled with the package that I brought, but I was happy with the progress that I had made. But we're all of our own worst enemies. It's easy for me to sit back and nitpick myself and pick apart what I would have changed and what I would have liked to do better. Instead of seeing how far I'd come since I competed 3 years ago. That's a long time to take off. It gave me a lot of time to improve my physique, put more muscle on, put more size on, and come back better. But then when I was looking at my pictures, it's easy to get yourself into that mindset of comparing yourself to other athletes or looking at other women as I was doing that compete and oh, I should have done this. I could have done that. Maybe we should have pushed a little harder. And honestly, it's easy to get wrapped up into all of that. And I have a great mindset coach. Shout out to Alvin Brown, Personal Mastery. Check him out. He's based in Canada, but he does train online. He really helped me to hone in and get focused. So what I did for the 30 days leading up to my show, I went 0 dark 30. So I was only on social media if I was posting. If I wasn't posting, I was off. That meant no scrolling. That meant no watching my competition, nothing. So when I got to that first show, I really had no idea what to expect. I hadn't been watching the athletes getting ready. I hadn't been watching other girls. I was strictly in my zone, focused on myself. And I have to say it made a huge difference. It kept me, I would say, one step ahead mentally and emotionally because I wasn't focused on everyone else. I was strictly focusing on what I could control, which was my food, my training, what I was eating, which I said my food, my cardio, and bringing my best package. We worked through a couple visualization techniques, which actually allowed me to think about walking onto stage, feeling the lights, feeling the presence, smelling my tan. And so when I got onto that stage, I felt like I had been there 100 times before, which was wild because it had been 3 years since I stepped on stage before. And one of the things I remember most about being on stage is that my posing fell apart. I was shaking. I was so nervous. I lost an earring my first show, and like I just looked like a deer in headlights. It was awful. I'm embarrassed to look at those pictures now, but it's such a great stepping off point because I know I'm capable of so much more, and I've been able to work through all of that stuff over the last couple years. And watching myself transform from then till this show was really cool to watch that come to life, see my confidence come out, see how much, more empowered and more strong I felt on stage, bringing myself, to a different level. And being able to do that through like this mindset coaching, getting more into my own coaching as a female coach, finding my groove in that, finding my groove in bodybuilding, and not being afraid to show the vulnerable side of bodybuilding and how much like it fucking sucks sometimes. So I took a lot away from that. I decided to do another show 6 weeks later. So that was the middle of September. And at the time I was like, oh, 6 weeks, you can do anything for 6 weeks. It's not that bad. My first show I had done in 2019, I did 2 shows back to back, 6 weeks apart that year as well. This time was harder. This time was different. I went out to eat the night after my first show, the morning after my first show, and then it was right back to diet, right back onto cardio. So I hit the ground running. Coach told me we were going to dig in harder, and that's exactly what we did. We upped the cardio, we pulled back food, and we dug in for those last 6 weeks. In the grits of it, I was eating 1,000 calories a day, less on my rest days, and I was doing anywhere from 100 minutes to 130 minutes of cardio a day. I was a walking zombie, but 3 weeks, 4 weeks out from my second show, I looked better than I did the night before my first show. I was more conditioned. I was harder. My legs were popping more. I knew that digging in deeper was exactly what we needed to do. We had played around with things for the first show. We knew what kind of worked. We knew what didn't. And we just pushed harder for the next one. I was already leaned out, but I had more to lose. I had more water weight to lose, and we pushed right through that. And bringing that package to the next show, I felt great. Was I tired? Yes, but I knew that like the light, it was at the end of the tunnel. My coach would give me more carbs. I was checking in like every 3 days, 6 weeks out, then every 2 days, then every day. And like just the amount of attention to detail, having such a high level coach and being so in tune with what I needed. When I was tired, I was sleeping more. I was getting naps in. I was prioritizing my own recovery over clients, which at that time, it was just something I needed to do and wanted to do. I knew that in years past, 3 years ago when I did it for the first time, that I didn't put my own desires and needs and dreams first. And I paid a price. That stress can affect your body. Being out on hours on your feet longer affects your body, or affects your recovery, your energy, all of that stuff. So it's not being selfish, it's being selfless, because me taking my whole peak week off from clients and being able to show up better for myself made me able to show up better for those clients at the end of the day. It actually made me enjoy coaching again, because I wasn't resenting people because I was tired and I didn't really want to be there, but I felt like obligated to be there. So it allowed me to, working with Alvin has really allowed me to step into my own and understand that like, it's okay to put my mask on first. That's what they tell you to do on the airplanes anyways, is put your mask on first before you help others. And that's really what I started to do in this last prep. Now the other dog's coming in. Hi, Ski. Sorry, you can't see them if you're on audio. Actually, you can't even see them if you're on video. They're under my feet right now. They're coming around. Maybe they're not. Oh, here's one. He's going under the table. There's the other one. Anyways, they found out that I was up here. So it was cool. I suffered, but I embraced it. I was watching podcasts. I was reading books. I had so much mental clarity of where I wanted to be and how bad I want this that I knew that that's what I needed to do. I woke up early. I did my cardio. I'd eat a couple meals. I trained some clients. I would go work out, and then I would do cardio at night again. The nights that I was doing cardio at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and knew that I had to be up in like a whopping 6-7 hours and do it all over again, they sucked. Like, I can't say it was enjoyable, but I can say it made me stronger. And I know that that's what it took in order to bring a better package the second time. And it's grit. Like, bodybuilding is not for the faint of heart. It's not for everyone. I'd be lying if I said it was healthy. Like, that's why I'm a solid, I don't know, almost 30 pounds over stage weight right now. My body just didn't like sitting that low. It just wasn't sustainable. So the day after my last show, I bumped up 1,100 calories and my cardio dropped from 130 minutes a day down to 30 minutes, 4 days a week. So a drastic change, but my body embraced it. My body feels good. I feel healthy. My energy levels are up now. My energy levels were up that first week. I never really lost my strength in the gym, which was amazing. The first time I competed about 4 years ago, I lost that strength. I would say the last 2 weeks, like, I was tired, I was fatigued, and my training in the gym suffered from like a strength standpoint and a little bit of a fatigue standpoint. Looking back now, I don't know if that was more mental or actually like physically, because I was a lot leaner for my first show and I was at a much lower body weight just in general because I was smaller when I started. For this prep, I was about 20 to 30 pounds over the weight that I started at for my first show 3 years ago. For that show, I was down in the low 130s, high 120s when I stepped on stage. This first show this year, I was about 150, 147. My second show, I think I was closer to 140, 144 was my low. And like I said, it just wasn't maintainable. The day after my show, I woke up and I was 154, I think. And then after that, I kind of rode that way for a little bit, fluctuating here and there. Like I said, I was checking in with coach every few days after the show. So he kept me very in tune with me and very, mindful, watching me, making sure that I wasn't getting putting on too much weight that I wasn't going to be able to get it off, come this coming season. So we've been mindful. I'm riding anywhere now between like 175 and I've hit 180 some days. But that's normally in the evening after I've had a full day of food. I've yet to hit it in the morning. This morning I was a little heavier, just some water weight. I ate some chili yesterday and just a little stress from like holidays and things like that. So I definitely think that's a part of it. So we pulled back on food just a little bit for this week with the holidays and everything. Not drastic, just about 4 ounces in my post-workout rice. Other than that, we're going to keep everything the same. So I'm going to eat Christmas dinner brunch with my parents on Monday. And then Sunday, New Year's Eve, we have another party. So I'll eat another meal there. So I do get one free meal a week, but I'll probably keep that within pretty well reason and try not to go too overboard. I still haven't really wrapped my head around the fact that like I'm going to hit 180 and higher and I'm in this off season. And I kind of have to be okay with it. So that's something for females, that a lot of times I think is hard for us, is being able to like accept the fact that like when you're bodybuilding, like the scale's going to go up. Like, to be lean, have abs, and show definition all year round, unless you're a pro and you're fine tuning and you're able to maintain that and you've already like maxed out your potential, now you're just maintaining, It's not feasibly possible. And I'm an amateur, and as a frame of 5'10", I have a lot of muscle to fill out on still to be able to fill out to my full potential. Um, I follow some tall girls that are pros. I mean, they're hitting almost 200 in their off seasons. That's another 20 pounds that I don't have right now. And everything takes time, and it's something that might happen one day, may not. It just depends on how, you know, life goes. Um, Sorry, I need some water. And that's okay. It's all part of it. So I'm learning to embrace the heaviness and thickness. I made a comment to my coach a couple of times about how fluffy I am, and he's like, "You're not fluffy. Like, you're staying in great off-season shape." But going from being so lean, seeing all the lines in my legs, seeing all of my, striations, my veins come out, my abs, to like, I have no abs now. Um, they're gone. They're under there, but like, they're not visible. You know, some days on chest and shoulder days, I can see some faint lines come out. If I have a solid leg day, I can get some lines to come out, but like, excuse me, I got to put on muscle. Like, and to put on more muscle, I got to get uncomfortable. I got to add weight. I got to add more food. And that's just how it works. Oh, excuse me. Now I'm yawning. It's 4:20 and I'm drinking coffee because I made this at 3 o'clock and it's taking me this long to get through it. Um, Anywho, but I thought I wanted to come on here and just kind of give a general life update. So, I'm living in that uncomfortability of putting on off season size, figuring out how to be comfortable, like taking off my t-shirt in the gym now when I get hot, and I just don't like sweating. It's like this weird thing I have. I just don't like being sweaty. So I'll train in like a sports bra and pants, and like when I was in full prep and even just like leaning out a little bit, I was like, oh hell yeah. Like, felt good, it looked good. You could see my veins. I had striations coming out, and like I live for that stuff. I love that. To each their own. I know there's people out there that probably think it's gross when girls walk around like that, but I love it. I thrive over that. Like, getting some more veins, seeing that stuff, more lines coming out. Like, I think that's awesome. But now when I take it off and I just see like fluff, like I just see water weight, and I'm eating, and like, but I just feel soft. So it's not where I'm comfortable. It's definitely not where I'm comfortable in my own skin. Things start to get tighter, clothes start to get tighter, things start to feel uncomfortable. Like, living in sweats in a sweatshirt, or thank goodness it's wintertime, is so much more comfortable than like jeans or putting on just workout pants some days. Um, but I'm embracing it. Each week is a new week. Each time I have a check in with coach, he seems thrilled. He says I'm progressing, more muscles coming through, more definitions coming, not definition, but like more muscle he can see. I'm improving. And I can definitely see it. Like, my lifts are increasing each week. I can see little things here and there where my shape is changing. So I know in 2024, we're going to bring a great package. I won my class on my second show. I did not win the overall. I won my class though. So that means that I qualified for nationals in 2024. So I have a year to go to a national show. So I have till September of 2024. I believe it's a year. You may qualify for 2 years. So my plan is to keep building and then start prepping maybe the spring, and then do like a local show August, and then, or July, August, and then hopefully find a national show in August, September. So really use that full year to the best of my ability. I think as a bodybuilder, you need as much time as you can. You need to grow, you need to put on size, you need to put on mass. So seeing these people that compete year after year after year, like, if you're a pro, by all means compete, like, make that money, show your physique off, embrace the fans, embrace your career. It's not long lived. And live it up. But like, if you're an amateur, why are you competing year after year after year? Like, how much advancement, like how much gains or how much improvements are you really making if you're only taking 4 or 6 months off? Like, I took 3 years off to make improvements. COVID messed up my 2020 plans, but after that, I just kind of embraced it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going this way. I signed on with a new coach, and it totally changed the trajectory. And I don't I just don't understand. Like, I get the love of competing. I get loving stage and wanting to step on stage. But at the end of the day, like, I want to be better. I want to show up better, stronger, bigger than the girl that I was last year, than the girl that I was 3 years ago. So to me, competing every year is just a waste of my time and money because I'm not able to make enough progress in 4 or 6 months that I am able to make in 2 or 3 years. And I'm not saying everyone has to take a lot of time off. Maybe you're just genetically gifted and you gain muscle really quick. But I've heard of a lot of people that took years to become pro or took years as an amateur, again, to get to that pro level. Or maybe you never even made it to that pro level. And it's like, is competing every year really have your best interest and your ultimate goal in mind when you're not improving the way that you could be improving? So I'm embracing it. Like I said, my plan is to do a small show and then jump into nationals. And I think that's a good plan. I'm ready for it. I've had people question me, like, why would you do a local show and then go to nationals? Like, why waste your preak? And like this year, I look at it like the first show it was all right. Like, I got my feet wet again. I got back on stage. I got back in the water and I felt good. But we fine tuned so much for those 6 weeks and we brought a completely different package 6 weeks later. So why would I try an aim to show up to a national show at the first shot? Why not test the waters, do a local show, probably come away with another class win, and then have anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to completely blow that physique out of the water and bring it next level to the national stage? Like, I'm going up against people that have won their local shows, that made it to nationals, that are going for their pro cards. I want to be able to compete with them. I want to know that I'm stepping on that stage and I'm good enough to be next to them and better to beat them. I don't want to show up knowing that, like, I don't know, I haven't tested it yet. I'm all for testing it. If I'm already going to do one, why not wait a couple weeks and do another? I mean, compared to these people that are doing it year after year after year, what the hell's doing one more before the second one going to do? I still took a good 6 months off in between, at least. Maybe even, as much to a year as I can. And I can tell you that if I win nationals, I'm taking time off before I make my pro debut. I'm not going right into it. I'm going to take a solid year or two off, put on more muscle, and then go back into it. So as this time, I took 3 years off between my first one and my second one. So doing this one, since you only have a year to qualify for nationals, like to do nationals once you qualify, I don't want to miss that opportunity just to get my feet wet and step on a national stage. From what I've heard from it, the people that I've talked to, it's a totally different experience, it's a totally different level competition. So I'm excited to just go test the waters, go see what it's like, and go from there. So I've been a little all over the place in this update. I feel like mentally, emotionally, I've had a lot of ups and downs since this year and since the last video. Not the lowest of lows, not the highest of highs. A little bit of everything in between. Some imposter syndrome, some comparison things creeping up, some old me creeping in, and that like depression and anxiety kind of pulling me back in. And, it's something that I've learned to work through. I've learned to talk about. I've learned to journal with my mindset coach and kind of help bring myself back out of that and learn why I do it. I think that's been one of the biggest takeaways this year, is like learning why I do the things that I do and why I think the way that I think, and figuring out how my blueprint's made up from the people around me, the people that I've grew up around, the people that I've presented myself with, and their outlook on money, finances, relationships, home life, friendships, work, like all of that stuff. We grow up and we hear all of these things, little tidbits from parents and grandparents and friends and family. And like, little do we know is that as we start getting into our developmental ages, like the more we hear all this stuff, the more we start to think of like, that's how it is. Like, money doesn't grow on trees, or like, must be nice to be wealthy. And like, you hear people talk about it, but until you really break it down and dissect it yourself, like you don't really understand what that all means and how that all either positively or negatively affects you. And it can really affect your day to day and how you show up for yourself and how you show up for those around you, just based off of your perception of the situation or your blueprint because of what you heard when you were a kid that stuck with you and has created this either negative or positive or idealist um, way about life or how things work or how the system works or money or the rich or the needy or whatever it may be. um, so it's been a wild ride. I'm so glad that I signed on with my mindset coach before prep, because having that zero dark 30 and visualization to run through going to stage completely changed my stage presence and just completely changed my mentality as an athlete. It was wild. It was so cool. Like your brain doesn't know reality versus, oh my gosh, you just completely drew a blank. Like consciousness. So like you can think something and visualize it in your head, and your brain cannot separate like reality through conscious thought. I think that's what it is, or something like that. So like if you think about something so realistically and you can sit there and quietly visualize steps and things that are happening in your life or the way you want certain things to happen in your life, when you get to that certain event or when you get to that certain thing, your brain is going to feel like you've been there before and you're going to show up exactly how you wanted to show up for yourself, which is wild. And when I first started going through it, I was like, I don't know, it's a little hokey. Like, all right, I'm going to believe in it. I'm going to full send it. Like, let's do this. And then walking onto stage and being backstage and like having no nerves and like just being like, I'm practicing my posing, I'm practicing this because that's what happened 3 years ago. But like, I owned it. Like, I walked out onto that stage like I had been there, like I said, 100 times before. It was amazing to me to be able to show up for myself and know that that's exactly where I needed to be in that moment, be present. And I was able to take it all in and not even think twice about it. It was wild. The second time it was even better. And it was just so cool. I was able to like be present. And I remember 3 years ago when I stepped on stage for the first time, like I was shaky. I didn't even know how to pose. Like I walked out there and like literally just fell apart. And when I got moved off of center stage that time, I was like, that's it. It's over. Like you blew it. Like you completely fucked up everything. I cried after my first show. I'm pretty sure I cried after my second show in 2019. I was so disappointed in myself because I knew I could be better, but at that time I didn't know how to switch that mindset. I didn't know how to change myself to be on and off. I didn't know how to visualize that I was already there. And when I did it this time, and although I knew I was third, I was disappointed in my placing, but I knew I had brought my best package. I knew I brought a better package than the year before. And I knew I did everything in my power to sign up for that and be there for that and be present. So being able to walk away and fix some things and show up even harder, more conditioned and leaner, for the second one and walking on stage with just as much confidence, and then being able to like be in the middle and win my class was amazing. Like it was so cool. And I was so present for all of it because I'd visualized all of this and I was not thinking about anyone else. I wasn't worried about other stuff. Like, and if I caught myself worrying about something else, I just brought myself right back to center, right back to square, put my headphones in, and went back to focusing on myself. So if there's one thing you can take away from this episode, it's don't forget that you need to put your mask on first. Don't be afraid to show up for yourself. When you fill your cup up first, you're able to pour into others. And when you pour your cup into everyone else's, it doesn't leave anything left for you. So I think that's my biggest takeaway of 2023 is that Rebecca can show up for herself first. And it's not selfish, it's selfless, because then I'm able to show up better for everyone else. And I don't resent the people around me. I don't resent clients. I don't resent activities because I showed up for myself first, and now I'm able to show up for the people around me. And it completely changed my mindset. It's completely changed my attitude about a lot of stuff and my outlook on life. So here is the start, back to the start of Inside My Own Headspace. I will listen. I can't promise I'll listen to the whole last episode, but I will definitely listen to part of the last episode so I can pick off where I left off and keep telling you guys my life story. I do plan on having guests on to talk more about mental health and struggles and how you've gone through it and what helps and what doesn't and what works for other people. So if there's anything you want to see, please let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I will continue keeping these going. So plan to have a bi-weekly or weekly podcast from me. This is the start. I'm not starting on the new year. I am starting now. I'm going to upload this and get this out today, and we're going to be off to a good start. So thank you for joining back in. I'm excited to dive deeper into life with you guys, and I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store.